Hey guys, welcome to our combined review of The Eternals. So, as you can see, Alex and other Joe are back from Vegas, where they got to see the film separately, and we decided to just record it now. So we'll do a non-spoiler section first with their opinions and review of the film, and then we'll get into an extended discussion. Since I'm here, there was a few things I forgot in my vlog review that we could talk about. So let's start. Let's start it off. So, what did you guys think of The Eternals? This latest Marvel film that is the first Rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes, as being the worst of the Marvel films.
I can kind of see why. I don't know much. Well, obviously, I don't know anything about the Eternals, but I think the actors did a great job. But I was like, none of these characters kind of hit a chord with me. I was just like, man, there's nobody really memorable to me. Mm-hmm. Some of the dialogue was like lackluster and very CGI fest.
Yes, I agree with that. That first act, the deviants look terrible. Yeah. I don't know why they went that particular direction, because the deviants have changed from the comic books. They used to be humanoid looking with just jacked up faces. Here they went completely animalistic in these designs. If you're gonna change their designs, why did they have to be CGI fests? Anyway,
yeah. I think this movie's a fucking mess, and it's a mess of good and bad. There's some really, really cool stuff. I think the first couple minutes of this movie, I was really into it. I really liked some of the story aspects. I like some of the storylines. I like some of what they did here. The issue is they did so much here. There are storylines that go nowhere. There's storylines that are red herrings. There's changes in bad guys. There are side characters. There's so much that this movie should have been two movies, right? They're planning on doing another Eternals movie. No, this one needed to be divided up into two because the Deviants did not get the attention that they deserved. They kind of were there, and then they weren't there.
I forgot about them sometimes.
And then they it was kind of...
He literally shows up in the final battle, like, "Hey, remember me?"
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of things in this movie that they did very, very well. Some of the shots are absolutely beautiful. Some of them are not. Some of the humor is amazing and it's funny, and some of the time it's just completely over the top and takes me out of what should be like an emotional moment or an action-filled moment or something. It's like, look, this is not the time for you to show up with another comic thing. Like, I think that some of the actors were underutilized. I think I love Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah,
and
don't you think that the higher named celebrities would take the front, but they were more relegated to the back?
Yeah, and so I think Kumail didn't have the opportunity to shine, and I think he's very funny.
Disappears in the third act,
and he just completely walks away. I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if this is one of the things where I don't know who to blame, right? Is it the writer's fault? Is it Disney's fault? Is it the director's fault? Is it the editor's fault? Because this movie feels messy and it doesn't flow together. But there's a lot of individual scenes that are wonderful that I really did enjoy. But then you watch them in order and you go, man, someone fucked it up here, and I don't know who.
Did you know the film's 2 hours and 37 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I felt that.
Like a fucking adventure.
Yeah, because I kept going back and forth. So it's like, when we go back, I was like, did we really need that?
Yeah.
We could have like tightened it up. And I don't mind if it all flows, because we watched Dune. That was like 2 hours and something, and I was engaged the entire time.
Flowed. Yeah.
This one was just like back and forth.
Between the two
emotional
time
moment. I don't feel it because you just kind of pulled me out. So
this was directed by Chloe Zhao, who, if you don't know, is an Oscar-winning director. The last film she directed was No Man's Land, which won an Oscar. So, and I think that's probably why general critics, movie critics, are harder on it. I think because they expect kind of that level. If you don't know, I liked it. I gave it what did I give it? A 7, I think. Because I can recognize it has issues, but I like the audience. Like, it's 47 tomato meter amongst critics, 80% with audience, and I do think that it's better than the critics say. I think there's worse Marvel movies than this one. They say this is the worst Marvel movie. No, maybe.
Daredevil?
Here's the thing that
that doesn't count.
Elektra. I think we were talking about MCU because there's even worse Marvel movies than the MCU. Yeah. But I just think that it shouldn't have been 10 characters. Or, you know what? It shouldn't have been a movie. It should have been a Disney Plus series. That's what it should have been. Because if you can give
some
it
more time.
6 episodes, you can give it 10 episodes. That's at an hour each. The Eternals is high level, celestial, epic, universe, centennial spanning, stories, right? So that's perfect for telling over time and over many hours so that you could develop each character.
Yes.
In this film, each character gets a thing and they're rushed, but to me, it kind of works still a little, but it's like there's too many. There's just too many. It falls under its own weight.
I think the number of characters can work. I think that for me, the big thing that this
Not in a 2.5 hours.
I do. So for me, I think they could easily have done all 10 characters and had it work. I think the issue that they have is this is actually 2 stories. Without getting into spoilers, there's one established bad guy that is not the actual established bad guy. It's a red herring. And then we go into a completely separate movie. You can't have 2 movies and smash them together and develop all the characters with the relations to both bad guys and things. And if this had just been a movie, this either needed to go give
It can't
Chloe.
do it in 2.5 hours, but you have to tell the story of not only the deviants because they're so intertwined with the Eternals, and then also the conflict of the particular story.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you have to ignore the second one. The one they ended up focusing on, the big thing they did at the end, should never have been in this movie.
Oh, that would be like the sequel.
If that's what
Yeah.
the sequel is, right? You establish the characters, you let us get to know them. You have that lets them follow the Marvel. Look, the Marvel formula is established, and it's always pretty good. Sometimes it's great, but it's always at least pretty good. And this one tried to do so much at the same time that the Marvel formula was really holding this movie back, was really getting in the way of like the characters doing what they needed to do, which is probably what the Oscar-winning director wanted to do, right? Probably goes to Disney and goes like, I'm going to make this interesting character drama. It's like, okay, well, the two main characters have no chemistry whatsoever. I'm supposed to believe that they have like a 1,000-year love affair. These people don't look like they like each other. So you casted it wrong. And then the guy Druig and the speedster lady had more chemistry in the 3 minutes that they were together than the main 2 did in the entire length of this movie. Like this, it was just completely doomed from inception, and it's not necessarily their fault. Jon Favreau directed one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen.
It's just that part of it wasn't built. Instead of showing the stupid sex scene that doesn't make me believe that they're in love anymore, you could have shown a scene when they do actually break up in Babylon, and that would have way more weight of them breaking their relationship off.
Certain scenes.
This is
And
right
then
there.
and then in the climax, you have to do like a flashback in order to get the emotional thing that you could have gotten if you had just built up these characters individually and their relationships to each other. That's what Guardians of the Galaxy did so well. Is that there's a lot of characters to talk about.
It seemed like they all had their time.
They all had their time, and then they grow with each other, intertwined with each other. They feel like a family, and this film. Major flaw is their family didn't feel like a family. It felt like a high school reunion rather than a family. Like they're not really tied. But
They're
anyways,
university friends.
I want to hear more from y'all and what you liked and what you disliked. Or you could go to the final verdicts. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't think that the main characters had any chemistry. So
Here's what the first act. Did you guys enjoy the first act? Because that's what I was like so bored in that first act. But then it started to pick up with
a little bit for me,
Kingo, the guy that shoots the lasers from his hands.
Yeah.
And then his fucking assistant was so hilarious. Did you guys like his character?
I like those two.
I liked them half the time that they were on screen. I think that there were so many times where they're in a big action scene where like people are at risk of dying, people are dying, and he's like, "Hey, I'm on my camera right now." It's like this is dumb. It's not. There's no purpose for you to be here.
You're trying to go for humor.
You're doing a documentary.
Yeah, he's doing a documentary while like the Superman figure, the most powerful of the Eternals, is on the ground dying. And it's
what did you want him to do?
Not be there. It just was inappropriate for him.
I disagree.
Yeah, so I that's the humor thing that just didn't work for me at all. Like it was that part of it was not funny. There was parts where it was the lead up to was funny, or where he represents like the audience, right? Where he's like he thanks them, and he's on behalf of humanity. So some of that stuff really worked. It's just there was times where It's like it's so
But
hard.
don't put him in the action scene.
Yeah, it's just like
what you do not want him in an action.
well,
scene.
it just completely undercut any of the seriousness of the situation where he's on the ground and his head's getting smashed into the dirt, and
Then
he's
you
just like
hear
he's
a
on a little
joke.
handy cam, like,
can
hey,
see that.
I'm recording. It's like, I mean, look, there were times where it was appropriate, and there were times where it just didn't work for me. And so, like I said, like there are humor scenes where it did work, and then there were times where it didn't. So I don't know if it feels like this was just sloppily edited together,
Yeah.
or terribly written, or terribly directed. I don't know whose fault it is, but someone fucked it up.
Wow, it sounds like you really didn't like it.
No, it's not that I didn't like. Like I said, it's like there's a lot of really good things in here, but I love
Had
comic book
potential.
movies. I give them at least 2 extra points on like our scale because I grew up being a fan of comics. I love seeing the superheroes, even
The
ones I'm not
Eternals
familiar
was
with.
a failed comic book.
Yeah, but like even ones that I'm not familiar with, I still want to watch. You know, I'm not like a big, some of the movies we watch, I'm not giant fans of some of those characters, but I still enjoy watching them, and I like those kind of stories. And it just seems like a complete and total waste. It's a mismatch of director and story. It almost feels like,
I think she herself she pitched it to Marvel because she wanted to take it on, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But that's what I've heard.
yeah, this movie needed to be 2 hours longer, or
This
half
movie
hour short.
needed to be a Marvel Disney Plus series where you're telling it over 6 to 10 hours like they do for if Winter Soldier and the Falcon can get 6 hours, the Eternals deserve 6 hours. When you have 10 superpowered beings like this, that actually was 12, she cut it down to 10. And honestly, I think that because it was a failed comic book, because nobody's expecting the Eternals and they don't know about them, you could have cut down the characters even more. I would have gone with 5 characters. You could have combined Ajax and Thena into like a noble warrior who got to step down after getting a job done. You could have combined Cersei and Makari, the speedster, and Cersei. You could have combined Icarus and Druig, I can't talk about that. And then Fastos and Gilgamesh and Sprite and Kingo. This is a comment from Reddit. And I'm like, yeah, if you have fewer characters and make it like 5, like a Guardians of the Galaxy, it probably would have worked in a single film. Otherwise, you need 2 films, like Alex said, or ideally a Disney Plus series, and then bring them into the films later on.
Or just
let's
kill
go
these
to
there's no
Kill 'em all?
problem. It's just like if you don't know, just kill them early on and like
Kill
have
all
it.
of them?
No, like half of them. Like you don't have like I don't love the idea of like smashing together some of the characters.
But then when you say, well, what's the point in these characters then? If you're killing them early in the movie.
Well,
like,
you show how their deaths impact and how they were important to the team, and like you can write it in a way where it's important that these people had like there are characters in this movie that are not in the movie very long, and it's really important. You can see how much emotionally devastates the other characters, and you can have that be a theme by having some of these characters die off early.
More of them,
and
yes.
now we don't have to develop 10 other characters.
Yeah, that works too. All right, let's get final verdicts so we can actually talk about spoilers.
More spoilers. Here's the thing. Like, there's a lot of nitpicking that I'm doing. The editing is by far my biggest thing. The pacing on the story, but I see I like the plot where it's kind of going now, but it took 2 hours and something. I was bored, and I want to see the next one because that one just feels like it's hopefully they put it together better. But this is above average for me.
Yeah.
I'll probably go with a 6.
Okay.
There wasn't enough chemistry. They didn't feel like a family at all or
Yeah.
team. They're just like, all right, we're here. We'll do shit, and all right, I'll see you when I see you. Flashback, emotion. It's like I didn't get the connection that they were trying to.
There's 2 central things there. It's supposed to be a love story and it's supposed to be a
I don't-
family story, and you don't
I don't
really
get those.
either of those. But in each individual character's life, you believe all the stuff that they're going through.
Yeah, Cade, I don't know his name.
Kingo?
Kingo.
Yeah, he didn't really get enough time to shine, and Gilgamesh was amazing.
Oh, my boy Gilgamesh.
He's my favorite one. I wish he
Okay, well,
would have gotten some more screen time.
yeah. Okay.
A 6? Yeah.
6 out of 10.
I'm struggling between a 5 or a 6 because I think this is either average or above average. Because, I mean, even the Marvel formula, even when it's not done particularly well, is still done better than, like, for me, the average movie.
I like the fact that they went galactic.
Yeah. I worry about, like, galactic level threats because you can really fall on your face. And I don't think they fell on their face here. Like, I didn't have issues with the overall story. I just think that the execution was seriously off. And I mean, the action was kind of weird. The comedy was kind of weird. The romance didn't work. Some of the dialogue was strange. And then the power levels of some of these characters, like waning and
the power levels is something that I hate.
Is kind of interesting.
All the Eternals are powered down. I mean, they're all supposed to be Superman level, but here it's like only one is Superman leveled, and the rest have little things, or it came across poorly. Yeah. If they are supposed to all still have Superman powered.
Yeah, and also the Deviants were
I think it was just to give them their own
underwhelming
character.
too, though.
Yeah.
What's that?
The Deviants were very underwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Super disappointing part. Then how the fuck do I like this film? You know, when we talk about it again, all the fucking individual elements are not supposed to work. Is that a testament to the director who actually gets us to like these characters and see what the potential in the film that it didn't hit? Because Crow is the guy's deviant name that gains sort of sentience in the film. Extremely disappointing. Doesn't make any sense. I want to talk to you guys in the spoiler section because of what he does in that third act. I still don't understand. Maybe y'all guys can explain it to me. Okay. Anyways, so 6 out of 10, and then between 5 and 6, you got to land on something.
Yeah. I will say that this is a 5. I'm gonna be a little harder on this one. I think that they totally fucked up the final act of this movie in both storylines they were trying to do. Didn't buy the love story, didn't work. They didn't do the deviant storyline well at all, didn't work. And then the main storyline, I didn't give a shit about, doesn't matter, didn't work. And I'm curious to see where they go with this thing.
What did work?
I mean, some of the action was great. Some of Kumail was fun. Like some of everything was pretty good, right? But I think that ultimately this is I like half of this movie and I dislike half of this movie. So
okay. All right, so we finally got the review of The Boys in here. So I think I was at 7, and then Joe's at 6, and Alex is at 5. Yeah. So join us in the spoilers discussion where I can bring up some things that I forgot in the original review and play off these guys and see if they know what the fuck is going on. Okay, so spoiler section next. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. Why the fuck did Crow help Icarus? I mean, if he's a deviant and the Celestials have been fucking over the deviants and also the Eternals essentially, and then he is spouting dialogue to Athena that our races are being manipulated by the Celestials. It's like, why is he trying? I don't understand why he helps Icarus. You know, he should be teaming up with the Eternals in order to stop the Celestials. His whole thing is his people have been mistreated and killed off. And what does he think is going to happen when the fucking Celestial is born? It's going to blow up. Now the Eternals are protected. It's alluded to that the Celestial is attached to the Eternals and he saves them, and then they go to a different planet and store their memories and do it all over again. But the Deviants are fucking broken, right? The Deviants are a failed experiment, and so they just die. And yet he is helping the person who is going to kill his race? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And he flies over and he deflects something, and the characters even go, "Why are you helping him?" And I couldn't hear the fucking thing. Did y'all hear the moment that he said what he...
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
I thought he was going to team up. I was like, wait a minute.
Why are you helping him?
Maybe he was confused.
He
was
confused,
right? He was
the
like, nah.
screenwriters were confused because they're like, oh shit, we have a deviant Crow that we forgot about. Just throw him in the final battle. Well, is he going to help the deviants? Well, no, because there has to be an even bigger battle, so he's just going to help Icarus. But that just shut your mouth.
Yeah, it was just
Just shut
the
up, Ben.
Eternals
Shut up.
fighting with each other. That's all it was. It's like, oh, let's throw him in there.
Yeah,
For
there was
like 2 seconds, and then bam. Dead.
everything about the whole Deviants thing was just trailer bait, and it was bad. Like the whole Deviant storyline went absolutely nowhere. They're like. Even like people are gonna be like, oh well, actually the Deviants have a connection. So let's just how do the fucking Deviants on this world know anything about anything until they absorb the knowledge from any of the Eternals, Ajax. And so until they absorb her brain, they wouldn't have known any of this stuff. I mean, like
Arishem is like this celestial being, right? But he's fucking stupid. He's supposed to be this omnipotent being who's so fucking powerful, and he fucking populates the universe, yet he's like one of the most powerful cosmic beings, and then responsible for living creatures. And then you're telling me that he fucked up in making these little animals the first time.
Yeah, because they
fucked
evolved.
up the deviants.
They evolved. Like, oh, shit.
And then he made another set of ones, and then like
he made it so they couldn't evolve.
and then they couldn't evolve, and then the whole mission of them, when he drops the bombshell that they're all made for this purpose, that they're not going to fight back against him. He's just dumb as fuck. Arishem is an idiot, in my opinion. But okay.
Yeah, some of this stuff is like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why is this going on?
Yeah.
Why is this going on? Because the script needs it to at that particular point.
Push forward. Yeah.
What do you think about Sprite's betrayal of the team? Because she was in love with Icarus. I'm like, what the fuck?
This is
Are
another
you
thing.
fucking shitting me? Not only did she spend extra time, because a lot of the Eternals went off in their own directions and were alone. But Sprite, no, she spent a lot of extra time with Cersei and Ajax, and because they're like, friends. And you're telling me, no, I think he's hot, so I'm gonna stab you in the back.
This is just a case of really poor writing, because they kind of allude to why they just presented the worst fucking way.
Why?
Because she's
in love with Icarus.
No, well, no, it's not Icarus. It's because she doesn't get to have the experience that they did, and she's like, I envy you. You people get to understand what it's like to live and love and do all these other things, and I'm stuck in this kid body.
But you're gonna continue to be stuck in the kid body if the Celestial is born and then you redo it on another planet.
Yeah, but then your mind is wiped and she won't remember it. Like, if they stop the thing, she'll be forced to live. She'll be forced to...
That doesn't make any sense. She should be fighting to break free and live her own fucking life. It's just convenient and Deus Ex that she gets to become a human at the end, because Cersei just so happened to have celestial powers because she connected with the Celestial for a moment where she can make her human. But that motivation was so fucking weak that I love you and I'll be at your side and I'll do it. When he showed no interest in her at all, she betrays all her friends. Now, the reason why it does happen is because Icarus is not the one that betrays. It's actually Sprite that betrays in a particular storyline, and it's because she's fucking pissed that she could never be an adult, and she's like getting back
that could have been
at
done
the Celestials.
better, but...
So, but in this motivation, anyways, it could have been done way better.
Love. Nobody noticed. It's like,
yeah.
And let's see. So, could have been cut down to fewer characters. Eternal needed to be a Disney Plus series to adequately build them up. We don't ever really feel Cersei's love of humanity. At least I didn't feel it. And I certainly didn't feel her love of Icarus. I mean, we saw it.
Did you see any emotion on her face that wasn't like eye dropped into her eyes at the entire time?
Okay, yeah. Is that what you're saying? Should have cast somebody else?
I said
Gemma Chan.
Icarus was terrible. Yeah. He was fucking terrible. Like, any of his emotional scenes,
I thought he was going for... I thought he was like the only one going for what the Eternals would probably actually act like. Yeah. They're fucking stoic. They don't... they've lived for millennia, and they have a purpose. And so I thought he was like the only one acting like an Eternal. Everybody else kind of turned into humans. You know what I mean? And so I thought it fit his character. It's like, no, we are sticking to our mission. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you people, but we're going to make this a mission. So that's why I thought his betrayal was like, all right, that's fine. I can understand that. Yeah. But I don't understand Kingo's, like, I'm taking off.
I refuse to kill either of you.
I refuse to do any... Doesn't he say he agrees with Icarus? He's like, I agree with Icarus, but I'm not going to kill y'all to try to stop it.
Yeah,
But it's
he
like, but
believes
wait a
in the
minute.
main thing, but
Wouldn't he be the one character that would be most to defending humanity? He's got his little Alfred, which, by the way, they call him Alfred, so Batman exists in this universe.
Well,
Superman exists.
They call him
Superman.
I mean, DC exists in Marvel, and Marvel exists in DC.
Yeah, I like that. They reference Superman. But in Marvel's...
But he's an evil Superman.
Yeah, but in Marvel's smug way, it's like, well, the story of Superman is inspired by, stories like Gilgamesh, as he was the first hero in history and written down stories, and it changed over time.
Oh, my man Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
I sure don't know
Or
with
Icarus.
him.
Yeah, I want to
They
know
did
what
do-
kind
they
of pie
needed to
that
do
was.
more.
Do you think it was blueberry pie? Could have been
I
blackberry
don't know,
pie.
but it did look delicious.
Marionberry?
Shouldn't have dropped it.
But his mom.
Yeah. So Kingo, what did you think of the fact that he fucking left, and then when you get the happy ending, he just shows back up and everybody's cool with him again? It's like, but you left your family. You essentially betrayed your family, and now you're
Like,
happy
where the fuck
again.
were you,
It's like,
man?
where the fuck were you?
needed you.
We needed to do the Unimind, like all of us. And it's never explained that he doesn't help. They don't need him. I guess his mind is fucking weak.
Maybe they did it anyway, because, I mean, they uniminded Sprite anyway, and Sprite said no.
I saw that too. I understand why Icarus did it, because he's like, all right, I can't bring myself to kill you, right? Because he's about to stop Cersei, and then they have that flashback. But again, that shit wasn't needed, that flashback, if they had properly set up their relationship and, their breakup and all this other stuff, and really see the sadness in him. But again, his stoic face, you don't really see all that emotion, so you don't buy it.
There wasn't in there.
But then he decides, okay, I'm gonna help. So he goes into the Unimind. It doesn't make sense that Sprite goes into the Unimind. So I guess off screen somewhere while he's doing his Bollywood thing, then he flies up and he does the Unimind too. And I just got mad at him because it's like, well, he's so fucking nice to his cast and his crew. He's got this cool sidekick, which I loved. He should get his own character poster. In fact, he does get his own character poster. Here it is. I fucking love him. And so he would want to defend these people because these are more his family than the fucking Eternals are, at least the way he treated them.
I was going to say that. You had more emotion than the team did.
Yeah.
Like, why did he leave? Like, you were actually doing more emotion.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm leaving. And all
right,
right,
cool.
bye.
See you on the next
And then you're
planet.
going to go fight. It's like,
I mean,
where is the emotion in this? Like, nobody's going to say nothing?
I kind of buy that his
leaves his
motivation
family?
that his motivation is just like, look, if these 7 billion don't die, then there will be hundreds of billions that don't get to live. And so he's just like, I'm not willing to fight for either side. And they were trying to push it. I just don't think they did a good job.
Yeah, because he did mention it, but
Yeah.
it just rang hollow.
In that case, then they did do a good job. He fucking stated it outright to his team, and he fucking left.
Well,
It
it is
just rang
explained doesn't mean that
hollow,
it's
though.
good. Like,
well, how would you make it better, Alex?
you got to get different actors, I think, or a different writer. You got to figure something out because it clearly didn't work. Like, if we don't believe that these people are in love or that they're oblivious, then like something's wrong, and it's either the writing or the acting.
Yeah. There needed to be more show, don't tell, okay? Like the example of the relationship. Cersei and Icarus' relationship throughout the ages. There could have been more of that in the actual breakup and all this other stuff instead of, these scenes where they're, like, looking at each other slowly and then they do a kiss where it's I don't feel anything, and then an awkward sex scene which didn't really work. And
Then you got to show him standing by himself for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, like weird cuts to him in the desert.
Oh, I knew you were here.
Okay,
Like, well,
so getting to the post-credit scenes, what did you think of those?
Oh, wait, but the Deviant,
Oh yeah,
I thought he was going to do something else. Like, once he shows up,
then he
just...
dies.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay,
That's what
well,
I'm
he
saying, he got
captures
thrown in there.
Athena, and then he's like, all right, I got you. And
then he sucked some of her powers, but I
Yeah.
guess not all of her powers.
And now he's dead.
And she was just playing possum, and then cuts him. And he dies.
and he died.
I was like, I
Okay.
thought he was going to make some kind of speech or something. He's like, all right, well, this is what's going on, blah, blah. No, he's just like,
He does make a speech to her to convince her, like,
She's
I
the
don't
crazy
know,
one.
to get revenge on
She's
all.
the crazy
his
one.
whole thing, his character turned into one note. I want revenge
Yes.
on the Eternals, which doesn't make any sense because it's like his people. He's all talking about his people and all this other stuff. It's like, no, you just fucked your.
He's
whole
been
character.
frozen the entire time he's been on Earth. He doesn't know any of that shit.
No, not the entire time he's been on Earth.
for a while.
They were feeding
Yeah.
on humanity. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
When was there an ice age?
Well,
Then he got frozen.
In this
millions
universe,
of years
there
ago,
was.
all right?
Anyway, after they got killed.
Look, there was two believable moments in this entire movie that I liked, right? Druig actually has a really great great scene where the conquistadors are fucking up Mexico. And he's talking about having to live with the guilt where he can do something and is not able to do something. He has the ability to do all this
Which
stuff.
doesn't make any sense. Why did the Eternals give him that fucking power if he can't fucking use it?
I know. Well,
It doesn't make any sense.
He's the Men in Black
How
little
is that going to help
flashlight.
him fight deviants?
Oh, because
Controlling humanity?
well, he has to cover up the fact that there's deviants. He goes, look into the little dealie, and he looks into my
guess.
thing. But that scene was really good, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, I
cool, we're
liked
going to
it.
go in that direction.
He's like, fuck
and then we
this,
just
I'm outta
forgot
here.
that
Well,
exists.
Guess what?
Yeah.
He's actually a villain in the comics.
yeah.
Because he wants
He
to be
seems
the
like it.
Prime Eternal, and he's always trying to find a way to be the Prime Eternal. The Prime Eternal wasn't really a thing in this film. I mean, Ajax was the Prime Eternal, and being the Prime Eternal, your powers are a little bit enhanced, and you know the plan. And she knew the plan, but her powers were shit. She, fell down, got hurt, and got killed almost immediately.
She's got back to spray.
Yeah, that's her power. It sucked. So I didn't like that they were all powered down, but that was for the dumbed down version for the audience. Oh, that one is that. That one's that. That one's good. That one's strong. That one's healing.
Did you guys get a Mortal Kombat vibe at the end of this movie where like the clouds part and then a celestial's face come out? I was just like, is he gonna
yeah.
say it?
Well, yeah, no, I want to
pathetic
actually
fools.
see more of that because Erishem's appearance to the humans, that needs to be fucking examined. Because now
There's no way.
humans are like, holy fuck, there's God right there. The fuck? Like, yeah,
What
I know
the
we have
fuck was
superpowered
that?
beings fighting all over our place, but this is something completely different. So if they never fucking address it, like, oh, no, nobody saw, nobody was looking in that direction at that time.
Well, you got those people inside watching Netflix. It's like, I don't know what happened.
Well, I mean,
don't
there's
believe it.
There's a frozen head. It's now marble or something sitting in the middle of the ocean, and everyone
Yeah,
sees.
sure.
It's like
It was Marvel. So yeah, there was a celestial coming out of the Earth, which actually doesn't make sense if you think about.
well, you're not supposed to.
Marvel
Don't-
Yeah,
Guardians
that's
of the Galaxy 2. Do you remember Ego's plan? Ego is a
The planet?
celestial, and he is a planet, and he was going to expand on Earth, his seed. So what, you're telling me he didn't know that Arishem seeded Earth before? That there was going to be a celestial, and so he was going to
Earth
Earth
is
to
double
seed.
pregnant.
So what the fuck? That
Can't get
kind of
pregnant
breaks.
twice.
It breaks Marvel's canon. So now they're going to need to fix that later on and say, oh no, Ego is a different thing. He's not a celestial. He lied and said, yeah, I'm a celestial.
He's a lesser
but he's
celestial.
not really a celestial. Now, you want to go really in depth. Some people think that this Marvel universe is going to go in the direction of Earth X, where the Celestials are doing this because they don't have a way to reproduce. This is their way to reproduce. And if they overpopulate and too many Celestials are born, then it will ruin everything.
It kills
and
the universe.
Galactus is a part of that. And why does Galactus come around these planets and devour them? Really because he's devouring the celestial seeds and
Gross.
and kind of cutting down the celestial population. And then Ego is another type of thing on the level of Galactus that will it gets fucking
Two
crazy.
Pac-Mans.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
Galactus
it's
swallows,
like,
so there will
I
be
don't
no
know.
more new
Yes.
celestials.
But I don't know how Ego makes. So they're gonna need to, I guess, explain that shit. And this is stuff like this is the highest. That's why I was impressed with Marvel. They're like, let's go there right now. Like they're at their highest fucking level because in the Marvel comic books,
can't-
the Celestial you can't get no higher than the Celestials.
You already did the big ass battle, so we gotta go to space.
So now is that going to be Phase 3 or massive fight 3 or no 5?
Are we
I
gonna
don't
get,
6
like, Silver Surfer?
because we have to get past the Kang the Conqueror, and then once we get past that, is that when Erishem's going to show up? Okay, I'm back. I've judged humanity not worthy. I'm going to come back, and Galactus is going to
Well,
kill
he's
y'all.
going through their memories. You see his face appears in the sky. Just goes, "Show me what you got." And I was like, "This is perfect. This is exactly what the
Show
Earth
me
goes."
what you got.
Yeah, it's like, all right,
What is
crazy.
that, Rick and Morty?
Yeah, I'm going to use your memories to determine whether or not you get to live. It's like, All right,
But
I guess.
Do y'all know what they're fucking with here? Like they've opened it up to those highest, and there's power creep. Like in Magic, there's just shit that
I hate this
it's
side
like,
of Marvel, by the way.
How the fuck are you gonna do this? Do you think that they're just gonna drop all this, and be like, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're gonna need a Molecule
Don't worry
Man
about it.
and Franklin
Airship
Richards.
never shows back up. They just it's a one-time thing. We don't need it.
We'll just forget about them until the last minute. And now you have to kill God who's crawling out of the earth, and then you're gonna piss off this other God, and then you're gonna make this doodad. It's like you can just have this be a monster movie. You can introduce the characters, get the audience used to them, stretch out the storyline because you're making another one anyway, and actually have it fit your formula and have it work.
But they haven't announced that they are, and on the last day of filming, they said they don't necessarily need it to continue. They are sequel baiting. It's not guaranteed that it's coming. They haven't announced it or anything like that.
The thing at the end of the movie, I thought it said you'll see the Eternals will return in Eternals 2.
Yeah.
But very famously, that's happened before. What other movie said something will return and they never return?
Kung Pao.
Yeah, no, I guess you're right.
Kung Pao.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Motherfuckers, you said they were going to return." Now they'll probably if it doesn't do as well as they want and they don't do a sequel, they'll probably just do little cameos in everybody else's fucking films. But I actually do want to see an Eternals 2, like Joe, and with all that out of the way, maybe they can focus and do a little bit better job. And I hope the director comes back so that she can be given another chance, because it was almost a monumental task for one person to try to do 10 fucking characters, the deviant subplot, the celestial subplot, plugged into a world-ending event.
Plugged in with a love story.
In fairness, I shit on Zack Snyder's dumbass for making Justice League. He needed 5 hours to make that movie work, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, you only get 2.5 hours. Yeah. So I shit on him. I'm gonna shit on her. Yeah. If you needed 5 hours, but they only gave you 2.5, then you fucked up. Yeah. Whoever, Chloe.
And Dennis Villeneuve was like, no, I'm gonna do half a movie.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you can't. I'm doing half a movie.
And it was amazing.
And that we're not going to greenlight the sequel if it doesn't do well. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to be a gymnastic motherfucker and try to ruin my film like David Lynch did, cramming it all into a single film.
Snyder.
Right. So I'm glad that it's also the studios too. You can't put too much blame, but you're right. Okay.
Blame everyone.
If you sign the contract saying you give me $10 million and I make a movie and you know it's going to be a garbage fire because they only give you 2.5 hours, like...
Okay.
Like,
needed to be Disney Plus series. Oh. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.